Mr. Eggplant presents...
Hey guys, Tyler here. Thank you for checking out this video. And it's been a few weeks, but I am back and ready to go with another Mythic Plus run from this current season. And we're going to be doing a +11 times the Stonevault. This is going to be the highest Stonevault we've done so far this tier and expansion. So we did a big pull with Lust here at the very beginning, and this was something that we had done in the past, but it kind of had faltered a little bit. It did help that we had higher damage from our group just in general, but also using me to actually do the pulling was huge to help get everything rounded up, because we're not stuck in that hallway as well. So that's something that was definitely useful for us. And as Karm said, in this run, we could have easily just popped out the portal if we absolutely needed to. So my entire build will be found down in the description of the video, and you guys should notice I have a couple of new additions to my UI and a couple of other add-ons that help me track interrupts and then what other people's cooldowns look like. And that was a shout out to Karm and other viewers who had asked to see more of that information on screen. And I do have a tracker for my Lunar Storm, since I am playing a Sentinel Marksman Hunter in this run. That way, whenever the owl is blue, that means the next time you use a rapid fire, it will drop Lunar Storm. And it's helped me get more damage out of that pretty significantly. And then this is a +11 Stonevault during the current week, so the affixes are Xal'athath's Bargain, Ascendant, Tyrannical, Challenger's Peril, and Fortified. My item level is 628, and my weapon is a 639 weapon, so I got really lucky with that. And I'm using my standard Mythic Plus build, but I do not have light ammo in this run. I am running with Hydra's Bite. Alright, so I haven't really talked too much about what we're doing so far in this key. It's pretty standard. I am just trying to make sure a couple of things, like I've talked about in several different videos. Alright, I want to have True Shot up for every single boss, but I also want to be making sure I'm using it as much as possible. And thanks to the sheer amount of bonus aim shots that we're getting out thanks to our pin cushion ability that was added in 10.05, we get more aim shots out, which means we're spending more focus, which means we are whittling the cooldown of True Shot that much more. My True Shots on average in a Mythic Plus are coming in at 1 minute and 18 seconds, which is down pretty significantly to where it was even just a couple of weeks ago. So I have my True Shot up here, and we are going to be staring in the eyes of the first boss, which is going to be E.D.N.A, or E.D.N.A mode. So we're just finishing off this golem here, and I didn't talk about too much about the interrupts on those first couple of ads. There's an arcing void that if the Howling Fear, which is the AoE fear, is already been dealt with, arcing void is definitely something you want to interrupt. And then with these, the orbs that come down, which are the Ascendant buff, we can help with those with interrupting, or also you can use your Implosive Trap. So I had my True Shot up. I'm doing my normal open rotation. I'm going to drop my Explosive Shot, then volley, True Shot, and then rapid fire, aim shot, rapid fire, and so on and so forth. When I'm outside of my True Shot window, I will be using my Precise Shot procs as much as possible, and they don't light up like they used to on my bars, but you'll notice I do have another weak aura for that as well, which does line up in the same way. And here, Oddwin and I are both trying to stand in a similar place, and I want to make sure that we're not getting double tapped by those arrows, because we'll probably be dead otherwise. And I do end up using one of my charges of Survival of the Fittest for the first arrow, just because I'm trying to get it on cooldown, because it is a charge system. I did have to use it twice, so that does kind of put me behind in this fight defensively. But normally, whenever you get the arrow, you can pop one of those. You can pop Turtle if you absolutely have to, but I would suggest saving Turtle for the big smash that happens whenever they can catch your healer off guard, which will happen in this pull. And we're just trying to make sure we're not putting the spikes on top of one another, and that they have to be destroyed. If they are not destroyed, you're pretty much GG at that point. That's a quick way to wipe. And then I stand back so that way we give everybody some breathing room, and then I move back towards the healing rain there. And we're about 25% or so on the boss, and we are just moving very, very quickly. And like our damage is up significantly over these last couple of weeks. Now that we've got AOTC, got Keystone Hero on most people, and we've finally been getting those 639 pieces from our vault. So Seismic Smash is coming here. That's going to do a bunch of damage to our group in the tank, and then we have the last set of spikes. Or I think this is the last set. But the Unstable Power is going to come out, and that does give you up to 20% haste, which having an Elemental Shaman, a Marksman Hunter, and a Rep Paladin, that's never a bad thing. So there goes my turtle to make sure I took no damage from that. Here comes Earth Shatterer, does a lot of damage to everybody, but nobody dies, and we are done with the first boss with only one single death. So we're actually going to do something fun here, and I'm all about those big pulls. So we're actually going to pull both of these packs. We've never actually done it before, but based on our group damage, Teach said, what the heck, let's give it a go. So here goes the Misdirect. You're going to get both of those out, and we'll do a big pull. So I am going to save my... I should have actually got my, there we go, steady shots to get my steady focus buff. Then I delayed everything till everything got grouped up. Then explosive shot, volley, true shot, rapid fire, aim shot, and look at that. We are just bursting so much damage. There was a couple of really good things that happened there. We got the interrupts on Arcing Void. We got all of the enemies hit with all of the explosive shots that we had put out, both the actual explosive shot and then from Salvo. But we also have everything standing in Lunar Storm, and it's a huge boost to your damage when that happens. And we actually killed all that before the Void Outburst happened too. So that's a good thing, because that's a ton of AoE damage. But that pull, we got 3.65 million DPS, and I believe Odwin beat me on this one just a little bit. Shout out to him. He is doing some amazing work. He is making Rep Paladin look way too easy. And of course, he's got a pretty cool looking Mog. So be sure, if you guys like Odwin's Mog, be sure and leave me a comment down below, because he works hard on his Paladin Mogs, and they look very good. And then for these pulls here, the censoring gear, it will pick one target, and it will fire a gear at them, and if they get hit, it will silence them. So if you hit your healer with that, they're going to have a bad time. You can deal with it if you can trap them, you can use Implosive Trap to knock them up. I try to put that in there intermittently. Otherwise, you want to interrupt it or use your Intimidate, which I do have all of the talent points set up to use Intimidate without a pet. So again, moving pretty quickly, and we had just missed time on an 11 about 3 weeks ago, so we knew kind of what we were after, and we ended this key with about 3 minutes left on the timer. And I that's a huge credit to the pathing and the bigger pulls we did, but also just the better damage that our group is definitely doing. There's the Piercing Wail that goes out a couple times from the Howler. That's a bad time. You don't want those going out. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to kick, or I didn't have anything that could have dealt with them whenever the last two had went out. But you don't want those to go out as much as possible. What I should have done here was use an Implosive Trap, because there was several interrupts that I could have just got, AoE wise, but I'm still getting better at using it. I'm not one to say that I'm amazing at it, and I honestly, the whole reason I started posting these videos way back when was so I could go back and watch them myself to see what I could do better. So looking at cooldown usage, I know I can probably get one more true shot out before the boss and have it up for the boss. And that's a big deal when it comes to Marksman Hunter DPS, when you can and cannot get away with standing still, getting that aim shot out, but also just ripping true shot. So we have 20 seconds left on true shot. We lost Odwin there. We just had some errant little crystal salvo that I think got him there. Easily done. Arcing Void, trying to get those interrupts, and then just making sure that whenever you're going to use an aim shot or rapid fire, I know it sounds elementary, but use multi-shot first or have volley up so you can get that bonus cleave damage thanks to trick shots. So there's the Void Outburst. I didn't actually use a defensive there. I was kind of trying to save him for the boss. That could have killed me. So I would err on the side of caution. You will find out really quick when you can and cannot survive things. And that's what a lot of Mythic Plus is, particularly the higher you go up in keys, is just knowing what you can take raw without an external or without using one of your defensives, because you're probably going to need it later. There's that crystal salvo, so I'm just going to keep going to my left, interrupt those arcing voids as much as possible. And then we're just prepping for this boss. We want to make sure I have everything up and ready to go. True Shot has 20 seconds left on it, but you can see I'm whittling it down very quickly, still doing really good damage even without True Shot. So there's a lot of times where early on in the season, particularly as I was getting used to calling the shots being in our build again, that I was either holding it too long or I was sending it when I didn't really need to. Like, we do some pretty good damage. If there's a 4 or 5 pack, we can probably do, you know, like 2.5 million DPS while you have your True Shot coming back or while it's ready to go for a next big pull. Now, I think if I need to learn anything in this dungeon, it's the Skarmorak fight. I know how to do it, but I'm not... It's always a slog for me. So in our, you don't hear comms, but in our group what we do is Teach will call out which shard. Most of the time it's going to be the closest one, but not always, particularly if there's a slam coming. And something that I need to do a better job of that I don't, that Sai is clearly doing an amazing job at, is going and grabbing those orbs early. We had all these crystal shards very close together. We were trying to not get all of the dots. I believe we got a 2 dot here, but we have the fortified shell, and if you guys don't know, whenever you pick up those orbs, you do a lot more damage to the shell, which is a must to try to get through it as quick as possible, because otherwise this void discharge will kill you. It did help that we had 20% bonus haste. So whenever I have that buff up, I have about 32% haste. I think I'm rocking like 11 or 12% haste right now, just because of all the haste I have on my gear currently. So I'm currently not doing very well damage-wise, and a lot of that is the fact that I'm not being aggressive with these orbs. And so I have just one here. I really should get probably 2 or 3 each time, but that's just something I need to just be more aggressive about. Like, there's just no other way to describe it. So there's the disengage going out. We have Skarmorak at 38%. I've got 3 orbs now. Actually, let's say 3, 4. Let's do 4. Even though there's an orb behind me, let's do 5. All right. Now we're cooking. So now I'm going to be doing some damage. We're going to get through that shield very, very quickly. And if you look at my damage for the entire fight, it jumped up like, what, 20% for the entire fight, and I've actually passed Odd One there. Should I have 5? Probably not, but they were out there and available, and that's something that you can extend the duration of, and you just lose the buff as soon as the shield gets broke. So if you can pick one of those up early and just have it rolling and ready to go, that way you're ready to pop the shield, and that's something that I need to do just a better job of. Like, see right now, like Odwin has caught back up to me again. We're at 10% on Skarmorak, and we do have to kill all these shards before the boss puts out his shield, because otherwise probably dead. We cut this one pretty close, but we got it down. Actually, no, we didn't. Excuse me. I thought we did in the run. We did not. So he had a much bigger shield, and this is where we're using our potion. We're using all of the defensives that we can afford. I probably should have used my Fortitude of the Bear before I used my potion. That way I could have gotten more value out of that. But Skarmorak's down. We only lost Karm, and we are going to keep on moving. And I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. Be sure and leave me your feedback down below. I know I can always get better, and my goal is to each and every time I come into one of these keys. And our goal this week is to get all timed 11s and to try a couple of 12s. We'll just see what happens. We've got a 12 Siege of Borealis. We'd like to give it a go. But I have a ton more Mythic Plus content and a ton more amount of videos, just to be honest with you, because I've been on the shelf being sick for the better part of 2 weeks now. I'm feeling much, much better, and I'm ready to rock and roll and show you guys exactly what a marksman hunter can do in some of these keys. So we're going to do a extended pull here in a second, but we just wanted to make sure and get most of these down. And then here we go. We're going to pull the loader in here. The speakers, they have the alloy bolts. There we go. It's something you want to interrupt. Lava Cannon picked me, so I'm going to go ahead and move out of the way. And then Molten Mortar is a dot that gets put on you, so I popped a defensive for that because it hurts. It absolutely hurts. And there's actually the double loader pack that is in this next room, you can actually skip it. We didn't know it until we were actually doing the dungeon. But you can skip that because if both of those dots get on the same person, they're probably just dead. And you can bait the lava cannons away too. Like for example, I would stand here if the loader was where it was. So if I'm the only one over there, I'm the only one who has to dodge, and it can help get those away from the rest of the group. And then this is a big pull, and this was kind of a pull that Teach was afraid of a little bit. Not that he doesn't think he can do it. There's just a lot of heavy hitters in this one. So trying to get things interrupted and having big cooldowns like True Shot, for example, is a must. Like literally, look at this right now. Oddwin, 6.5 million. Psy, 5.3 I saw, and I'm like barely at 4, not even. So like we're pumping damage, and they still were poking holes in Teach for at least a little bit there. Like, look at that. Between us, there was over 11 million DPS between the 3 DPS. And, oh, by the way, our tank doing 1.74 million as well. I'm going to get stuck on the wall here, as per usual. Such a marksman hunter thing to do. Interrupting the alloy bolts is a must, and then there's also the heal that the menders will do. But the alloy bolt will just pick somebody and do some cast damage, and it ramps up after a while if you just let them go through. And there's the restoring metals that you can interrupt. You can interrupt with your implosive trap, which I did, intimidation, just our counter shot. But everything's basically dead here, and then this next loader is going to be coming in, and then we're going to treat this pull exactly the same as the last pull. And I'm looking at my True Shot, so it's coming up right now. Should I use it? Should I hold it? That is the question that I'm asking myself. I'm going to go ahead and hold it for now because I do know, as I'm dodging the frontal there, I do know that there's going to be that like 5-pack. And I also knew that Teach was going to be taking this Forge Loader over to said pack. And he did a really, really great job of moving enemies all evening long when we were doing keys to move all of the enemies together to where I could cleave pretty significantly. Because when I can't cleave, obviously it hurts my damage, yes, but it also just hurts our group damage as a whole. So he's being very cognizant of that, and I really, really appreciate that. I feel like the group is really coming together, and I cannot wait to see how high that we can push this season. So we're already about a minute left on True Shot. Now, normally I would not want to be using True Shot this close to a boss. So I'm going to break my rule of not having it up for every boss encounter. But we're already at 50 seconds left before we even get to this boss. And this boss is going to be a little bit of a slog anyway. So we're going to go ahead and go in with everything else but True Shot. And with, so in this fight, it's Brock Lesnar, and then it's going to be Dollar Rita is my name. So it's Brock and Dollar Rita is that we'll be calling out. This fight I need to continue to get better at as well because of just not getting a ton of damage since it's 2-target cleave. So it's my job to interrupt Brock whenever he goes out. So there's the interrupt, and then we get close. There's going to be the rock, or what I call the rock, you know, from SpongeBob. Ride that baby for miles. It goes across the way there. And now we're going to dodge the frontal there, and then we're looking for the empty flame jet area, which is where we already were. So the rest of the room is going to get covered in puddles, and then Dollar Rita is going to go to the middle, do a big explosion. It's always nice to give your healer some help with some defensives during this because it does a ton of damage, but as long as you're in the safe spot, you'll be fine. And then the tank or one of the other DPS is also interrupting Brock again because he has another heal he does throughout the encounter. There is a frontal that unfortunately Oddwin took to the face, but that's okay. Brock is far, so I'm going to have to kind of go out there just a little bit to make sure I get the interrupt. There we go. Brock will head back over to us. And then we have the next frontal. This fight is pretty much rinse and repeat, but you want them to die at the same time, because if you don't, you're probably dead, because they get extreme amounts of damage very, very quickly. And luckily, these started moving just as we were heading over here. I was actually afraid that they weren't going to move in time. So we get close. There is a very, very wise communism totem that got dropped there. And now we're looking at the different health pools. So you just saw me go from one to the other. So one's at 100 million, one's at 120 million. So we have some work to do to try to get those as even as possible. But this fight, you can easily lose yourself and lose your head. Like if you're thinking about, oh, watch out for this, and then that same ability that you've dealt with just fine 5 times just killed you. On this fight, another big key to success is using that Lunar Storm tracker, because I'm purposely holding my rapid fires for when they're both going to be back over here, so I'm still getting that Lunar Storm damage. Because I don't want that Lunar Storm damage over where Brock is or in the middle right now, for example. So there, I'm going to be dropping it. I go ahead and first off use my turtle just to help calm just a little bit there. And then now I have all of my Lunar Storm damage underneath me. It's huge, and like looking at the damage, we're doing just at 1 million DPS right now. Dodge that frontal. They're both almost dead, and we are headed to the final hallway here in just a second to take on the Void Speaker. Alright, so luckily that was skidding across the floor, but we didn't really have to worry about it too much. So looking at forces, we're at 77% right now. We've got 12 minutes and 40 seconds left on our timer. We got 2 forge loaders that we didn't pull, so we want to make sure and not pull those. And now we are headed to the final leg of the Stonevault. And if you guys want to see me add more information to these videos, particularly if you got this far in the video, please let me know. I'm always wanting to make more videos that you guys are interested in seeing. And speaking of future projects, as we get ready to pull these first pack of honor guards, which will also pull the rock guy in whenever he passes through the second time when he gets to the apex of his pull or his pat. I have some pet tame videos. I've got 2 of those. I've got 8 Mythic Plus videos that are going to come out. I've got one of those being a portal run for Dark Ranger, meaning you can play Dark Ranger and still get your portals. You can definitely do it, and I had a ton of fun doing it, and I also used Mad Queen's Mandate in that run, and that was definitely a big bit of my damage. It definitely helped out, and if you're somebody like me who has a really small Skardyn's Graces, I'm going to go ahead and not misdirect, but I told Teach, I'm like, he's coming in hot. I can't give you aggro, but I think we're in in a bad space for Dark Ranger as people think. Is it a DPS loss compared to a correctly played Sentinel? Yeah, more than likely. But I had fun doing it, and I was doing 1.5 million DPS or so, and had the DPS to get portals. Now anything after 10s, that I understand that some specs just won't work or some builds just won't work. But I had a fun time playing it, and we actually, I think it was a City of Threads. So that video will be out this weekend, along with some other Mythic Plus runs from the last couple of weeks that I was not able to post in a timely manner. Alright, so we're at 83%, 10 minutes and 40-ish seconds left. We're going to do 2 pulls here. So there's going to be this pull, looking at my true shot. We're at about 25 seconds or so. We want to bait the Stampedes into one of the walls, preferably the one that's closer to us. That way that they don't run too much, and we can keep them in the same pack in the same area, so we can continue to cleave off them. Like our group had some really good cleave potential in it, so that was probably a big key to our success as well. But I am not worried at all, like defensively, when I'm playing my Marksman Hunter right now. I'm actually, I think we're in a really good place. I would love to be able to lust without a pet. I think that's my big ask. And then on these Stone Shapers, Stonevault, that just basically goes on the tank. That's what you want to interrupt. Those alloys will go out on everybody else, but Stonevault can pop your tank like a zit. So be very, very careful with letting a lot of those go out. I should be using Implosive Trap here, and I'm not. Again, that's one of my big things that I'm trying to learn, where I can help my group out even more, and using that ability more is a must. But I'm hoping that in the future we'll be able to lust with or without a pet. And when I say that, I mean you don't have to use a lust pet as Beast Mastery either, because I know that not all Beast Mastery hunters want to use a lust pet. They want to use a tank pet for more health, or they want to use a movement speed pet, and that would make it a little bit easier for us to do that. So the grand explosion will just put the circle underneath you. If you're in that, you're dead. Like as a Teach just felt the wrath of that. Down goes Oddwin. So we did have a little bit of an issue here just on these last couple pulls. And when you get up into these higher than 10s, that can happen very, very quickly. So all we're doing is we're just going to kite this out as much as possible. Rock Jesus came to save the day. I appreciate Sai sacrificing himself for that. We got most of the Xal'athath's affix as well. So we luckily can still salvage this. Whenever the Stone Shapers put down that totem, you want to kill the totem. The totems they'll end your run very, very quickly. They don't have a ton of health, and they're kind of hard to tab target too, which you saw me kind of struggle busting there just a little bit. But we opted to try to start pulling the Rock Smashers like delayed, and then also like that first set, and then obviously you don't have any choice in these sets. But we didn't realize that he's not actually attached to the very first pack that we killed already. So that's something that we've started to incorporate, bringing him into later packs. But we have a little bit more than 7 minutes left. We've got one big pack left. Looking at my true shot, I'm at 51 seconds right now. And I'm just going to be throwing all of my cooldowns, and we need to be ready to go because we will have a Xal'athath's bargain come up pretty... I say pretty soon, right now, and it's going to happen fairly quickly during the boss as well. So here's the Grand Interruption. Just make sure that you have an out for that. Just have an idea, okay, I'm going to go right, I'm going to go left, I'm going to disengage. Make sure no one's behind you if you're going to disengage, that sort of thing. But I'm just staying on the Stone Shaper so we can get those down because the Smasher has significantly more health, so he's going to stay alive. And to get those priority interrupts, we're just making sure that we're taking the little guys out. Is it a little bit of a DPS loss for me because now those guys are dead and I can't cleave? Yeah, but we wanted to make sure that the tank wasn't going to fall over, and then that Rock Smasher finished the job. Now, if we were crazy gamers, I suppose we could bring the Rock Smasher into the boss since he's almost dead, but there was no reason to potentially throw the key for something that would cut maybe 5 or 10 seconds off. But you notice I didn't use my Rapid Fire because I have my Lunar Storm coming. We have Xal'athath's Ascension that's going to pop just before the boss. We've got Lust. We've got True Shot. I've literally got all my cooldowns. My Trinket just came up. Let's do this. Alright, so I'm going to do my Explosive Shot, and then I'm going to use my Potion, use the Volley, and I went ahead and used a Rapid Fire there. Did Rapid Fire, then Aim Shot, and then I'm just using Aim Shot or Rapid Fire, preferably Aim Shot just right now because it's doing 50% more damage. And then if I have neither of those down, I'm going to go ahead, or neither of those available, I'm going to use my Precise Shot procs. You saw that whenever the dot that came out, the corruption, I used my turtle, so then I didn't get it, and I don't have to worry about that, and I can spend more time pumping. Like, we did a ton of damage there. He's already at 60%, and we are just melting him, and our Lust is even still up. So he's at 50% now, and the Void Corruption's coming out. That is a dot that does significant damage, particularly if you have these circles on you, because it's going to do more damage as it drops on me here. And I'm going to use a heal in just a second. But then you go to the portal, and it takes it off of you. Fun fact, if you have an Evoker and they rescue you, and you both have the Void dot, it will take it off. One portal will take it off of both of you. So that's something to think about, and maybe some min-max gameplay, and just shows you how good Evokers, and particularly Og Evokers, can really be. So we're at 30% health. True Shot is up, using all of my cooldowns again. I have that 20% bonus haste from our Xal'athath's bargain, which we're going to lose once we get to 12s. I come over here to get my to turn in my last, or to come over to this portal, turn in what I would hope to be the last corruption. And then we're at 20% on the health of the boss. I probably could have think about waiting till I cleared my Void Corruption before using my True Shot, but hindsight's 20/20, and we're honestly just trying to melt this guy as quickly as possible. Oddwin went ahead and he took that one, which is fine. He's the melee. He has a harder time of finding something close, so that's totally fine there. But Void Speaker is going down. We did lose Sai there. We want to avoid the frontal. And then you can get kind of screwed over if you're far away with those. So be sure that you are pretty close to the boss That way you can avoid it pretty easy. But GG's, that was an amazing run. That's where we get our plus 12 Siege of Borealis. Got some new points up to 2676. Thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Be sure and follow me over at Twitch at twitch.tv/Mr. Eggplant. I can't wait to share more videos with you guys, and I'll see you next time.